Well, everyone, the worst Samsung phones of all time is a very interesting thing because, there's a lot of weird phones that Samsung's made, but I love Samsung. But particularly in 2024, there are some Samsung phones that are, pretty popular that I would probably recommend avoiding for the most part. The very first group of Samsung phones I'd probably recommend avoiding, though, is probably any phone that is currently unsupported with software. So these can range for a bunch of different devices, but for the most part, at their core, phones that are no longer getting full OS updates are probably ones I wouldn't recommend buying. So think of phones like the Galaxy S8, older ones like the Galaxy S9, Galaxy S7. Those ones aren't really getting software support, but even the Galaxy S10, even at this point, isn't really getting software support either. And you could also probably throw the Galaxy S20 in there as well. These types of devices are no longer getting software support, so because of that, it doesn't really make a massive amount of sense to go ahead and buy a product or Samsung Galaxy like this when you know that it's not really going to be getting software support anymore. So take it as you will, but that's pretty much the first group of Samsung phones I wouldn't recommend buying anymore. Now, another one that I think is probably not worth buying anymore either, for the most part, is probably any of the Samsung Galaxy Notes. Now that the Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra are probably the ones that are no longer getting software support either now, it doesn't make a lot of sense, like I mentioned before, to buy these types of phones. Why buy a Samsung Galaxy, why buy a Samsung Galaxy Note 20 right now when you can go and buy, maybe like a Galaxy S21 that's still kind of supported with software and just go ahead and, go down that direction and buy that product. That's kind of what I'm saying. That kind of makes a little bit more sense for me personally. So that's another thing that I kind of look at for these particular products. That kind of makes sense to me. Now, I do think another group of phones that it's not that I wouldn't recommend buying them, but I think there's just probably better options out there, are probably the Samsung Galaxy S22s. So the S22s came out in 2022, and these types of phones basically had one type of flaw for the most part. And essentially what that flaw was that these particular products had that Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which was good, but it did throttle a lot, and a lot of people had complaints about it. I also think the battery life of the S22s really wasn't that great, which could have been a very big problem for these types of products as well. So because of that, I look at phones like the Samsung Galaxy S22, the S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra, and they weren't bad phones, they were very good. But I think if you can just spend a little bit more money and grab an S23 or S23 Plus or S23 Ultra, I think those types of phones will be giving you much better options. And I think that is personally what makes a lot more sense for me, is to recommend a phone like that over the S22s. I also think phones like the S21 are still pretty good for the most part. And if you want to save some money, you can go for an S21 Plus and save quite a bit of money. But if you want, I would probably just recommend skipping the S22s. They're not bad phones, like I said, but they're just better options from Samsung out there now. So you might as well just go down those directions right there. So that pretty much covers it up for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.